we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground. Here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
It's explosive. You can't control this, no. I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on a battlefield, a survivor never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. With every beat of my heart, I'll be the light in the dark. You can't control this, I'm explosive. still.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series here on LSRTV from the Lady in Black down in hot, sunny Darlington, South Carolina at the Darlington Raceway. One race remains in 2024A, and it's come down to 3 drivers who mathematically have a shot to win the 2024A portion of the schedule. I'm Jason Rockfeld. Joined alongside me is Wesley Outland, who'll be here in just a short second, and Charles Wooten pressing all the buttons for us out in Texas from Wichita Falls tonight. Charles, good to have you with us, obviously, my friend. And folks, this is going to be one interesting race here tonight. Like I had mentioned, 3 drivers mathematically have a shot coming into tonight to win a championship, and also a couple headlines heading in tonight. But before we go over the point standings and also the headlines, let's take a look at your Hunt the Front TV race analysis for tonight's event. One fast repair. Actually, I believe it's no fast repair here tonight. 100% fuel load, so you're looking at about 55 to 60 laps, but that fuel run is not going to matter, and these boys have 4 sets of tires, and those things will be key here for that 146 lap race, where the stages will be completed at lap 25 and 55, and we will have 3 green-white checkered attempts if need be. Like always, here's your Kaufman Creative weather conditions. Partly cloudy skies, 76 degrees out in the air, 9-mile-an-hour wind speed, an 81-degree track temperature, which will probably cool off as the sun goes down, as this race will go from a day-to-night transition with the sun looming over the Earnhardt Tower right now in turn number 3. And we mentioned the point standings coming into tonight. The points, James Mullins has a shot to run down his teammate and friend Ryan Chapman. He is in second, only back by 11 points. And last year's winner here at Darlington, Cody McKinney, mathematically still has a shot. He is 29 points back of the points leader, Ryan Chapman. Wesley, good to have you here with us, my friend. It's going to be an interesting one here. 3 drivers with a chance to win this title here tonight.
And it all comes down to the Lady in Black at Darlington Raceway, man. You got to like this racetrack. It's going to be fun and exciting to see what the Full Throttle Truck Series does. The Cup Series Championship, of course, of A schedule is on the line Monday night. But we got 3 drivers, and any of these guys, one mission. Can they beat James Mullins? Because that has been the guy that's been on the catbird seat, the Pied Piper, the dominator of this series, and probably the last month and a half there, Jason.
Yeah, and he was fastest in practice, and when you looked, obviously, at Ryan Chapman's speed in practice, he was not all that fast. And qualifying time trials are now beginning here with 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock. There's Wayne Grossi in that beautiful Shell Pennzoil machine that he always runs. We joked about it with Brody Hanna before during pre-race. He said, well, I guess they're throwing it back to last week if they're not running a throwback, obviously, tonight. Just like James Mullins, there he is, the man who sits only 11 points back. And Wesley, the thing is about this race, compared to, obviously, your typical Phoenix final race with the final 4 drivers, because this is still a regular season race. Remember, they separate their schedule into 3 sections. You have A, B, and then C, which will set up the playoffs, which A and B will combine themselves into the playoffs for C. So we still have stages. Points are still on the line for these guys here tonight. And if James Mullins could somehow capture stages 1 and 2 like he has done pretty much a majority of this season, he is going to have the points lead probably by the time we head into stage 3.
And you got to remember as well, the lady in black here at Darlington is unforgiving, Jason. It's one of those tracks that will just reach up and bite you if you're not careful. Not only are you running against your competition around this racetrack, you're also racing this racetrack itself. Remember, the key to this place is to ride up against the outside retaining wall without hitting that safer barrier. But don't be discouraged if you get yourself one of those traditional Darlington stripes, because that just adds character to your racing machine.
Yeah, with all the schemes we have out here tonight as well, the Darlington scuff on the side of those things are something those guys want to try to leave here without. But obviously still the possibility with this track being so hard to pass, you'll see a lot of guys trying to save tires down on the bottom in the early portions of the run, and as they get tighter as the runs go on, you'll see them start to migrate towards the middle or the top side. 1 and 2, probably the sketchiest portion of the racetrack, because you basically have to clip the apron going into 1, let the car slide up towards the wall, and then diamond it back down off 2. And Wesley, that's the thing, we've seen so many wrecks over the past handful of years, whether it be real or virtual. We have seen guys consistently get in trouble off turn number 2, and I think that's going to be a big talking point here tonight.
That definitely is going to be a talking point here tonight, as well as we see Ryan Chapman really fighting his truck as it looked like the rear end was about to come loose on him a moment ago. Here's Marshall Johnson in that Craftsman Tools number 9. You see him riding up the wall here at Darlington. This track measures at just over a mile, 1.017 miles to be exact. And obviously this is a racetrack where, you know, it's also very oddly shaped. The way that the banking in the corner and the transition to 1 and 2 is, Jason, it's not the way 3 and 4 is. You literally got to drive these racetracks different when you enter the corners. And that's something also that you've got to figure out very quickly whenever you're on this course.
Yeah, and one of my favorite facts about Darlington, Wesley, is when you look at the track, and I don't know if Charles has the aerial coverage from the blimp that we could see, but if you've ever been to Darlington, and this is a good picture right here, but coming out of turn 4, remember, this track is not your traditional oval style. It's almost like an oval mixed with that egg shape, because back when they made this track, out of turn number 4, the property owner of that little lake/pond that's over there didn't want to give up the land. So they said, fine, you're not going to give us the land. They're going to build right around it. And that's why 3 and 4 is so much tighter than 1 and 2. You have to treat every single one of these corners completely differently. And it's going to be an interesting one here tonight, to say the least.
And by the way, to add on to that, Jason, don't forget the track had a facelift back in the early 2000s where the backstretch used to be the front stretch. Now the backstretch is the front stretch and vice versa here at Darlington Raceway 2. So that makes what you were talking about 3 and 4 now turns number 1 and 2 of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it will be an interesting one for sure. So much history here at Darlington. So many great drivers have conquered the Lady in Black. And some others, well, they've gone home with a Darlington stripe. Qualifying, though, wrapping up. Brody Hanna going to obtain the pole position with his teammate Michael Blackner, who was the pole winner last year. He'll start alongside him. So here we go. Row number 1 for the season finale of 2024A. Like we mentioned, Brody Hanna alongside his teammate Michael Blackner in row number 1. Row 2, you'll find James Mullins, who if he could just get some points tonight, he will be able to obtain this A championship alongside Sherwood Williford with a great qualifying effort in the Taz machine, always throwing it back every weekend. Row number 3, you'll find TJ Bartel, who had a top 5 run here 1 year ago, alongside Wayne Grassi in that Shell Pennzoil machine in the 7. Row number 4, Tyler Brown, haven't seen him in a handful of weeks. He's back tonight in the 00, alongside JP Burns in the number 9. Top 10, row number 5, you'll find last year's Darlington winner and somebody who still has a chance mathematically, back by 29 points, Cody McKinney in the 28, alongside Robert Milikian, who had a top 5 run here 1 year ago.
There's your top 10. Row number 6 will find Marshall Johnson in the 9 and Ben Tracy to the outside in 35. Row 7, John Rhodes in the 88, Colby Mess in the 8 machine. Row number 8 here will find Ryan Chapman, followed by Joey McKinney. Row 9, you will see the driver of Chris Custer as well as Jake Allier in the 92. In your top 20, we'll see the drivers of Joe Flanagan and Lewis Meglin. Row 10, top 20. Rest of the lineup in the back concluding goes with Joey Flanagan in 57, Tony Solari in 11. Row 12, we'll find James Torrey, Alan Duranco, and the final row of 26 drivers, Rick Webb and Bryce. There's the starting lineup for the finale of Season Schedule A. Sim Racing Points Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series tonight, Jason, at Darlington Raceway. Should be a good one. Strap in.
Yeah, and you all definitely want to strap in if you're watching over here on LSRTV, because it is going to be a good one. 3 drivers have a chance to be the 2024 A champion. And fun fact, coming into tonight, not so fun for if you're a fan of him, fun if you're a driver because he's been so dominant, but James Mullins will be leaving the FTSR series after this conclusion of 2024A, so he would love to come out here and get a championship. He's only 11 points back of his teammate Ryan Chapman, who's going to be starting a little bit deeper in the field than he would probably want to, and it's going to be a good one. Pace car is off. We are ready to see what the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series brings to the Lady in Black. Who will dance with her properly? Who will fall tonight? Green flag is out. We're racing for the Lady in Black in Darlington.
Green flag in the air. On the inside, it's going to be Hannah on the jump. Mullins right there to the bottom. Blackner will follow. They quickly go to the top of the outside safer barrier. Right now, single file as they go to the back straightaway. That's the Boeing backstretch here at Darlington.
Brody Hanna able to keep that lead into turns 3 and 4. This time, everybody kind of spreading out. Remember, it is a very, very sketchy place to try to pass, so a lot of guys will be single file trying to save their tires, but also trying to make up every position that they can, because track position is so key. And one thing, Wesley, that we didn't talk about necessarily during the pre-race show, tires, baby, because if it's not fuel, it's tires. And off turn number 2, James Mullins goes right to the race lead over Brody Hanna in the 3.
146 laps to get it done. Already a couple of laps into this show as they work off 4, storming down to the line. Everybody single file. They work back into turn number 1 and 2. That's 25 degrees of banking. They hit the Boeing backstretch off of that second turn. That's 2 degrees. The front stretch measures 3 degrees where they were just at the exit. And then again, as we mentioned, Jason, turns 3 and 4, 23 degrees of banking as they work into the corner in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and you got to treat this track differently compared to anything else that you have ever ran. This is either a driver's worst nightmare, or it is something that just comes naturally to you, and you have to feel the track, drive the track, race the track, whatever it may be. You're not driving your car. You are driving the way that your car adapts to the racetrack, and you have to strap in here for 146 laps. James Mullins, though, still has the race lead. JP Burns ran the fastest lap last time by with a 28.811 there in the number 99 Martin Sports Toyota machine. Right back behind him, Ben Tracy looking inside the top 10 in 11th. But right now, Wesley, everybody just single file trying to figure out how their car is going to react to this track as it adapts from that day to night transition.
And that's the best thing you can do right now as you work your way with a handful of laps coming to the line this time by. It's still James Mullins in that Chevrolet number 60 from the Commonwealth out in front. Brody Hanna second. There you see that battle for just a moment between Bartel, Wilford, and of course now Brown. That's door to door. That's in front of Bartel. That heated up side by side. It quickly dissolved as they worked up the bank into 1 and 2 here at Darlington.
Cody McKinney is hunting down Sherwood Williford this time off turn number 2, right back behind Tyler Brown. You see that 28 machine. Believe is throwing it back to an old Tony Stewart scheme. I believe that is the Madagascar machine that Tony Stewart ran in the early 2000s, doing a great job trying to make sure that he stays in this point battle because like we talked about, mathematically, he still has a shot. He came into tonight 29 points back of the point leader, Ryan Chapman, and he wants to try to gain as many positions as he can. And this time, Wesley looks to the inside of Williford down the back into 3.
And by the way, got to remember, obviously, the drivers inside of the racetrack. Watch McKinney. McKinney now going to the bottom of the racetrack. That's not the preferred fast groove, but if you get a chance to dive to the inside and try to go for a pass like we saw him do to Wilford, that's all fair game. And then you notice he quickly, Jason, gets right back to the top of the outside retaining wall as they work the back stretch here at Darlington.
Yeah, still most of this field is single file and pretty spread out because either drivers are just really fighting an aggressive racetrack and trucks that are just not handling well, trying to pick up spots but trying to save tires. Here's Tyler Brown working to the outside of TJ Bartel entering 1 and 2. He's not going to give up the spot. Thankfully doesn't end up in the wall, but Bartel seems to kind of get away from him by about half a car length or so. And Cody McKinney right back behind the 00. He'll look to the inside once more entering turn 3.
And back in that line again as they work their way up against the Winston Tower, back up there in turn number 3 and 4. What used to be 1 and 2 here at Darlington. They'll also be racing into the night. 146 laps, a long way to go. Just getting ready to put 10 on the board, and it is still Mullins, the man leading the way. Johnson's in the wall. Now we got trouble. The 35 of Tracy bounces big time off the safer barrier. Powell's hard into the wall. Pancakes the right side of his truck. Drops to the bottom of the apron. We still stay green on turn 2.
No noticeable damage on the Tracy machine, but he goes from about 11th now to 16th as he enters turn number 3. And that was a lesson learned from the lady in black given to the 35 of Ben Tracy, who will have to try to gather himself back up and make another run, or at least save some tires here as the sun starts to progressively go down and we transition deeper into the night here with the lights coming on. Here at Darlington, he works back behind Chris Custer. Meanwhile, Cody McKinney still trying to work around Tyler Brown here as they exit 3 and 4. He's got a peek to the inside. Will he have the run here down the straightaway?
And all the while, they still stay right there up against the outside safer barrier. Nobody jumping out of line. It is still Mullins, the leader. Behind them, Hanna, Blackner, Bartel, and Brown. Then you've also got McKinney sticking his nose in the mix. That's all single file as they work the Boeing backstretch off too.
Working lap number 12 right now. Stage completion will be at the end of lap 25. Stage 2 will be at the end of lap 55. And then we will go all the way to the checkered flag at lap 146. And Wesley, here's the thing right now. Let's take a look and see real quick, Charles. We can take a look at Ryan Chapman. He is all the way back in 17th. He cannot give up any points, and he is struggling. Oh, we got a yellow. Oh, crash out of turn number 1 into 2. 2 cars tangled together. That's Williford and J.P. Burns. And while I hold my thought on that, that's going to bring our first caution of the evening when it comes happening out of turns 1 and 2.
Wilford and Burns get together. 2-truck and tango. They are working off of the corner. Let's see what happened one more time as Burns down to the inside. Williford giving him plenty of room. Something went wrong going down the front straightaway, heading back into turn number 1. You see them still right there door to door. Then Burns just ran out of room, into the wall, into the safer barrier, tags Wilford. And around goes. What a move by Robert Malicki to go through that 3 wide. Wow!
We got to take a look back and see that one more time there, Mr. Wooten, because boy, oh boy, hold on to your hats, hold on to your butts. This is a go and pucker up brown pants type moment. He sees them wrecking in front of him. He's going to split the middle and gets right past those two trucks. What a job by the guy who finished in the top 5 here 1 year ago of Robert Malikian. But back to that incident there, Wesley, what happened going into turn 1 between the 99 and 33? That is such a difficult transition because the truck kind of sets down on that apron, and then it becomes unsettled when you get back up there. And that's a typical style Darlington pass. We have seen it over the years. You have to get down there at least below that dotted white line onto that apron if you want to try to pass it on the inside. But the problem is with that, with the truck being so unsettled, it kind of just slides up the racetrack. It happened to me the other night in C-Fix, and unfortunately it bites the number 99 machine of John Paul Burns.
Yeah, caution out over the racetrack again. This is the first caution of the race, but all the while, I got a feeling 14 laps into it. I know you got tires waiting for you down there in the pit area, but I just don't see right now with just 15 laps into this race, Jason, that anybody's going to pull onto the pit lane. I really don't. Not right now.
I think if they do, there are going to be guys towards the back half of this field, but you only have 4 sets of tires tonight, and you have to use them wisely, especially as one of the oldest surfaces here in NASCAR, and with this track being such a cheese grater, it almost kind of takes Atlanta Motor Speedway's old form and puts it onto this track now, with it just being so detrimental to those tires. You have to save them. You have to use your tires wisely, because only 4 sets here, and it's going to be interesting, as I believe we're going to get the one to go this time. And I mean, Wesley, James Mullins is loving what he's seeing. He's got a fast truck. He's just got to hang on for a handful of more laps to win this opening stage.
By the way, if you'd like to know more about the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series and all the leagues that they run, including the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series, Xfinity, of course, what you're checking out right now, the SimRacingPoints.com trucks. They got a Cup Series, a late model tour, and more. Full Throttle SimRacing.net. And Jason, I'm checking it out right now. I'm looking at the schedule, and as you said, this is the final race of the A schedule, and they've already released what's going to happen for, of course, the B schedule, which will crank up here in a couple of weeks, and that's going to be some other fun, unique racetracks, and that starts on May 22nd at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Should be exciting.
Yeah, and it definitely should be a fun one. We'll have to wait and see for Season B, but right now we got an A championship to crown here tonight, and we're going to restart on lap number 17 out of 25. Mullins will lead them back to the Geico restart zone with Brody Hanna, the pole sitter, on the outside. They'll roll through it. Green flag is back out in the air. A little bit of tire spin throughout the field, but James Mullins, Wesley, goes right back to lead while everybody scrambles into one.
Back for the restart. Mullins quickly back to the whip up the outside banking here on the safer barrier at Darlington. Storming off of turn 2 to the Boeing back straightaway. Hanna about 2 truck lengths back. 3 back is Blackner. Behind them, door to door, McKinney, Bartel, Grasse, Brown, right there, 2x2 off 4.
And McKinney trying to get past that 22, wants to earn as many points as he can in this stage, and he might have a really good shot at running down James Mullins to possibly take home this first stage. And if he does, that is going to be big points gained by the number 28 machine as they work off turn number 2. Handful of laps to go in stage number 1. Things are going to get a little dicey up here at the front.
Off that Boeing back stretch into turn number 3, Blackner in the big red black machine up against the Coca-Cola ride there off turn 4. Behind him, Brown. They're all single file, but for how long? Working their way back, approaching lap 20 into turn 1. Mullins still out in front.
And Tyler Brown trying to run down Michael Blackner, who was last year's pole sitter at Darlington, having a great run. And I talked to the 22 of Michael Blackner before the start of this race, and I said, hey, man, you were the pole sitter here 1 year ago. You actually had a good finish. And he says, that stat must be wrong because the way that this season's looking, this has been abysmal for us. And the 22 coming into tonight didn't really have the best stats up on the year. Only 1 top 5 for the driver of the 22 machine. But right now, Wesley's proven my stat book right with how he was one of the guys to watch out for in this race. He just lost a spot to Tyler Brown. Under fire from TJ Bartel 1 year ago. Oh, we got our yellow on the wreck on the track. big wreck. Oh, and it involves your championship leader, Ryan Chapman.
Wow.
Up and into the wall off turn number 2. And some damage to the rear of the 27 machine. Huge championship implications here off turn number 2 at Darlington.
Craziness at its finest. And there you see the end result as they work their way up the racetrack. Oh, man. Chapman in that 27 Toyota. There's Johnson, and there's contact, and they just ran out of room and into the Boeing back stretch on the safer barrier they go. Chapman got the worst end of the deal in the Nerditudes. 27 to put us under caution here.
And that is a huge heartbreak for the 27 machine, who was going to have to come in and probably fix a majority of that damage. And it all started when that number 9 of Marshall Johnson just didn't have the room, couldn't get the car rotated, go back to the bottom and diamonded off turn number 2, got up into the wall, and ultimately collects your championship points leader. That is a huge moment in this race, and with him being with that damage back in 22nd, I mean, Wesley, this has opened up the door big time for James Mullins and Cody McKinney to pounce on the points leader like they already have been doing this race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Obviously, we just seen what just took place. And we'll watch here as obviously we're kind of, if you will, trying to get to the end of the run of stage 1, and everybody's kind of minding their P's and Q's here right now, just kind of seeing what Mullins is doing. Obviously, he has just got such a strong truck, but I wouldn't count out the guys behind him on the 1.366 mile here at Darlington, Jason. McKinney is up in the battle, so is Hannah. I think right now it's just strategically trying to just, find the right time to make the run on Mullins.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, Cody McKinney knows he has a fast truck, and if he wants to beat James Mullins, he's going to have to play mind games with him. He's going to have to save those tires. There's not going to be many more laps here in this stage. Heck, this might actually bring us to the conclusion of stage number 1, possibly, but I believe they are getting the 1 to go here. So this is going to be a 2-lap dash, if I am correct, because I know that FTSR has a tendency to where if they are within a certain amount of laps to the stage break, that will be the conclusion of the stage. So we'll have to find out and see. But as we are broadcasting this right now, from what we know, this is going to be a 2-lap shootout to see who wins and also get some stage points here in stage number 1. I mean, Wesley, if you're the 28 machine, what do you got to do?
Well, I mean, like I said, honestly, there's still a lot of the race left to go. You're only moving into lap 25 for stage number 1. I really feel just be patient, stay where you're at right now, and just hold your line, obviously. If you can't get him, you can't get him. Stage points is premium here. You need to get whatever stage points you can. Don't do anything crazy in stage 1 to risk taking yourself out here. So we'll get ready for a restart. We'll see how it all shakes out here.
Cody McKinney definitely does not want to give up that 1 point to James Mullins. He might have to ride that fine line, but he's going to have to battle him if he wants this stage win. Green flag goes back out in the air. Bottom gets rolling a little bit better than the top side. Brody Hanna gives that shove to Mullins back to turns 1 and 2, and Mullins, just like that, is going to clear him off of the race lead off 2.
All this going on as we move into the final couple of laps of stage 1 here at Darlington. Mullins to the lead. He pulls away. Behind them, there's a 3-truck skirmish fighting for that spot, and we got trouble. 66 spins to the bottom of the racetrack. The tide ride in trouble. He's at the bottom of the racing groove. We stay under green flag. That's Chris Custer. Meanwhile, it is Mullins, the leader. Behind him, they are still single file into turn 1.
Last lap for stage number 1. Cody McKinney's got to make a 0.3 of a second gap dissipate in half a lap. Don't believe he's going to be able to do it, but he'll still be right there with James Mullins in the points. If he could just hang on, you could see he drives it down into turn number 3. He wanted that stage, but he's ultimately not going to get it. James Mullins is going to win stage number 1 over Cody McKinney, Tyler Brown, Brody Hanna, Michael Blackner, your top 5. Bartel, Grossi, Meglin, McKinney, that being Joey McKinney, and Colby Mice to round out the top 10. Wesley, he tried it, everything he could, man. He threw everything but the kitchen sink, I think, down there in the 3, just not enough.
Yeah, made every valiant effort possible and just came up short there at the end of it. When it's all said and done, Virginia's James Mullins for Elliott Sadler Esports shines brightly again in that number 60 machine Chevrolet. McKinney, Tyler Brown, Brody Hanna, Michael Blackner all battling amongst themselves, but smartly got single file there at the end. Just get stage points. That can help you out towards the run to the championship. But again, boy, I've said it before, said it again. By the way, if you're keeping up track now, 7 stage wins. Now, of course, Jason for James Mullen. 7 stage wins in a row for the number 60.
Yeah, and that's absolutely crazy, and that's his 11th stage win of the season. But obviously, these guys still got 1 and 2 more stages to go. And while they come down to pit road this time, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back for the start of stage number 2 and let you know where the points have shaken out after stage 1.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. Here at Hercules Foundation Repair, we are here to help with our free in-home evaluations and personal repair plans. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the 2024A finale for the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series live from the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway down in Darlington, South Carolina, ready to get racing again for stage number 2. Had a few drivers stay out there at the end of stage 1. Jake Euler, Joey Flanagan, and Ben Tracy, who we saw have a moment there a handful of laps ago. They all elected to stay out because they had a set of tires that already went on the truck at lap 21 for all 3 of them, compared to the guys who just pitted at lap 27. And I told you how we were going to give you the point shakeup from after stage number 1. So as it sits, with Ryan Chapman not gaining any stage points and him only being at 572 with points, James Mullins with the stage win has closed it in to 571 minus 1 point from the points leader, Cody McKinney rather, finishing second, went up to 552. He is back by 20, so he is going to probably have to have James Mullins have some sort of bad night here, Wesley, if he wants to try and get this championship from James. We're getting ready here to come back for the restart, doubling up this time. Joey Flanagan, see him on the outside. Haven't really talked much about him since he joined the series a handful of weeks ago. This is only his second start this season. Made his debut at Kansas, I believe, 1 week ago. And Jake Euler right down on that inside. He'll be restarting first here in that number 92 machine, throwing it back to the old Richie Petty colors from the 90s there in that machine. Ben Tracy, James Mullins. Then you have Wayne Grossi and Cody McKinney up on the top there in row number 3. Pace car is down. We're ready to go for stage number 2 here, which will end at the completion of lap number 55. Euler and Flanagan lead them back to the Geico restart zone, and just like that, we're back underway, and the 57 spins the tires heavily, and Jake Euler is going through it, while Wayne Grossi drops a ton of positions down into turn number 1.
Yeah. Back straightaway right now. Everybody works into that spot. That's Euler there now in that number 1 position, Jason, as they go back to that spot. Euler, the Euler, like the Tennessee Oilers or the Houston Oilers. Jake Euler in the lead. Tracy Mullins, that's the way they are, single file. For the first time, it is the driver Mullins having to fight through traffic going back to turn 1.
And he hasn't had to do that since the start of this race, where he only was able to get up 2 spots until he was to the race lead after starting in 3rd. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead. Tracy down to the bottom of Euler this time, entering turn number 3. Things are going to get dicey, possibly off 4.
And we got a caution on the racetrack. Trouble on the speedway. Looks like the man in the 24th position in trouble. That is truck number 2, and that is the driver of Alan Duranco for Elevated Esports, losing it here on the back straightaway, putting us under the yellow flag here as we watch him on a replay going from turn 1 into the Boeing back stretch, and trouble out again for the 4th time, it looks like, here at Darlington, Jason.
Yeah, and off the back straightaway, just another simple misconception. Going off turn number 2, the 11, too high up out of the groove, hits the wall, comes down, gets up into the 2 machine there of Alan Duranco, and that number 11 machine throwing it back to, I believe, I'm usually a stat guy, and I'm usually pretty good with paint schemes. I believe that is Mario Andretti's number 11 machine when he won the Daytona 500. I could be wrong. I know that I think Ned Jarrett ran the 11 machine. I know, Wesley, you're an older guy. You know better than me. I think I'm right, but I could be wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. That's a throwback of when Mario Andretti ran in the Cup Series, multi-time champion, winner of the Indy 500, the Daytona 500. And, of course, there's the STP Richard Petty throwback of when the King drove the STP oil treatment colors machine. And there you see the 35. What a difference a couple of laps makes, Jason. The 35 involved in an accident earlier of Ben Tracy, and now he's the man leading the way there in that Ford.
Yeah, and with these caution laps too, Wesley, this presents the opportunity for him to be able to save those tires a little bit more. And with the guys behind him trying to run him down, they're going to burn up their stuff. So eventually these tires will equalize. Obviously the 35 and 92, they will fall off at some point a little bit more than the 60, the 28, and others on back who pitted 6 laps later. But we had a caution, so there's not really that many laps on these tires if you really think about it, because we only had that caution around lap 21. We pitted, or they pitted, they stayed out, and then they pitted when they came down after stage number 1. So you're really only looking at about 2 laps worth of race time on those tires for the 35 and the 92 machine, so they could still compete up here with these guys, Wesley, for the race lead. It's just going to be about how will they maintain compared to the others who have been so fast in the beginning portion of this race.
And obviously, again, as we mentioned, we saw, Jake Euler as well as, James Mullins lead some laps of this race too. And Mullins is now mired back in 4th. This is the first time we've really seen the 60 machine be stuck and have to make a run through traffic. I mean, he's not that far mired back, but he's still got a couple of machines he's got to get around. Mullins might just be toying with these guys right now, Jason. I think he might want to just have a little racing amongst some competition instead of being out there in front of clean air. And we do get ready for a restart here.
Well, remember last week when we were at Kansas, we asked James Mullins, we said, hey man, what do you got? And he said, oh, I did not show my full potential. I still got more left in the tank. And by all means, surely he did, because he went on to win his 6th race of the season just 1 week ago, trying to make it 7, which will be his final start in FTSR before he moves on. What better way to do it than get that win or somehow wind up with a championship? Here we go, back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out here in stage number 2. Ben Tracy leads lap number 35 in the 35 truck. They go back to 1 and 2, side by side for the race lead as they hit the backstretch.
to the outside lane. That's Euler. Give him plenty of room in the STP colors. Down to the inside. Here comes Mullins. Mullins powers right to Tracy, driver left. They're door to door as they send it up into turn 3.
Door to door for second place. Now the 60 gets clear of the 35. Cody McKinney's got to look for a way around. Ben Tracy, he'll tuck in line. Right back behind him, Tyler Brown has entered inside the top 5 there in the 00 machine. As they go back to 1 and 2, the 92 machine, I believe, hit the wall or had some sort of issue. He gives up the race lead. They're side by side down the back straightaway, and James Mullins was able to come out front as they hit for 3.
Big 3 truck scramble there for a moment for second on back. Euler down to the inside. Tracy back up to the top of the safer barrier. Give him plenty of room as they go single file, working off 4. McKinney to the bottom. He'll make a clear on Euler and look for third as they go into 1.
And Euler really had to lay off right there to make sure he wasn't going to hit that wall with how that track in turns 1 and 2 kind of sweeps up and just sucks your car right into the wall in the grasp of the lady in black to give you that Darlington stripe, but he was able to keep it out of it. Now he battles for 4th alongside Tyler Brown, bringing TJ Bartell into the picture, last year's runner-up here at Darlington in the Lee machine.
Plenty of room given on the inside. There's Brown's machine, pulls up in front of Euler, up to the outside lane. Here comes now Bartell. He loses ground on Euler. Got to find a way to get back on the high horse. Behind them, Meglin, Flanagan, they're door to door in the top 10, and they're almost 3 wide off the Boeing backstretch, heading to 3.
Back into 3 and 4. This time they're still double wide back there. There's that number 18 machine throwing it back to Bobby Labonte, I believe, in the old Cheerios Betty Crocker machine there.
Yep.
Beautiful looking paint scheme there. Back to turns 1 and 2. And I will tell you what, I love me some Cheerios. My favorite cereal. Don't care what anybody says. I'll eat Cheerios 3 meals a day if I had to. That's how good they are to me. And that 18 machine looking really good for Joey McKinney. Not the season that he's wanted so far. He's had some shining moments up at the front, but having a great solid top 10 run being. Meanwhile, Cody McKinney gets up to second, and now Wesley, the battle is on to try to win stage number 2.
It definitely looks more to me like a throwback, if you will, to John Andretti, one of the late NASCAR drivers of his era. Also ran in IndyCar and NASCAR. John Andretti and that hamburger helper Betty Crocker Cheerios machine. But nonetheless, I'm loving all these throwback colors, and obviously you better get ready to check them out here as they work their way off the corner, up the wall. Again, bouncing off the wall. McKinney in the Home Depot Tony Stewart colors, if you will. The Madagascar ride battles on up against the wall in turn number 2.
And I think that's one of Cody McKinney's favorite paint schemes to run, because if I'm correct, I believe he ran that same car last year, or if so, it was him and his brother, Joey McKinney, yeah. And I believe they're brothers. I keep saying that. I haven't had the opportunity to ask them, so I got to do it one of these days. But last year, they both ran, if you remember, when Jurassic Park 3 was coming out back in 2001, the whole, merchandising aspect of it was the Spinosaurus versus the Tyrannosaurus Rex. You had Tony Stewart driving, I believe, one of the other, and then Bobby Labonte obviously driving the other. They threw it back to that last year, but Joey McKinney supporting another Tony Stewart throwback this year, trying to run down, or rather Cody McKinney supporting another Tony Stewart throwback now as they head the front stretch.
I like to move it. I like to move it. Yeah, and watch it. Let's see what he can do if he can keep moving it. That's McKinney in that number 2 spot. No. Madagascar, very popular from that song, very popular from the movie Madagascar. But nonetheless, it is still Mullins out in front. What do you see? Right back to the top spot again. McKinney in the Madagascar machine second. Tracy third. And there you see the Longhorn colors of the number 53 machine. I think that's Flanagan. And yes, that is, I believe, Longhorn Steakhouse colors on that nice wrap job.
Yeah, and that's a throwback to Ron Hornaday when he drove for Kevin Harvick Inc. back in the Truck Series, one of the NASCAR Hall of Famers and a legendary Truck Series driver here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Won a few championships, won a handful of races, a great, extraordinary career throughout the Craftsman Truck Series. But I believe I lost Wesley out, and I'm pretty sure I have King Julian up here in the booth with me. So welcome King Julian up here to the booth with me. He has replaced Wesley Outland. Wesley, I'm sorry. I think he pretty much took your job.
King Julian, I don't know who that is. Who was King Julian? How did I get eliminated?
I guess he's back. I guess King Julian is out of the picture now. You see Joe
This is a
Flanagan still working
conspiracy.
down the backstretch. It could be a conspiracy.
I like to move it. Oh, wow. Oh.
Oh, wow.
There's bad weather all over the southeast United States, and including the deep south where Charles is in Texas. I know that Darlington Raceway got hit by severe weather. The Carolinas that got hit by severe weather. I ain't gonna lie to you, Jason. I'm ticked off with weather, dude. 3 days ago, I drove within a 600-700 mile radius in 2 days trying to fight weather to announce races, and unfortunately, Mother Nature got us every step of the way. So hopefully this nastiness will go on somewhere. But everybody, please be safe and find shelter. No doubt.
Yeah, obviously, and if you are in those areas, thoughts and prayers going out to you. Also, all the families and friends that have been affected by the storms, obviously, like Wesley had mentioned, sweeping the southeast portion and also on the east coast, mind the fact. And we definitely send our thoughts and prayers. Hopefully everything will get better. Take care of one another, be good to one another, and do everything you can to obviously help those in need. And you see that number 28 machine of Cody McKinney, though, Wesley, starting to reel in this number 60 of James Mullins. These two have been really strong all season long. We've talked about James Mullins. Cody McKinney, though, hasn't had the run that he had like he did last year. He had multiple wins. He came into this race tonight, only one win, opportunity to get that second one tonight and possibly a championship.
And definitely doing everything he needs to be comfortable in that top spot right now. All the while, it is still Mullins, the man that leads the way. McKinney in second, Brown third, reaching probably the end of stage number 2 here at Darlington, 50 laps into it right now. And honestly, we saw an opportunity for, Tracy and Euler to lead the race, but not for long. Quickly, Mullins got right back to the front. And how about Chapman back in trying to get in the top 10, Jason, right now in 12th. He's had a problem in stage 1, but he's shaked it off, if you will, and he's found himself right here back in the hunt for the top 10. There's still plenty of racing left to go here.
Yeah, 5 laps to go in stage number 2, and he's going to have to try to get up to that top 10 as quickly as he can, only back by a little less than a quarter of a straightaway from Jake Euler, who holds that 10th spot to earn that one valuable point that could make all the difference for Ryan Chapman, depending on how this race shakes out. We've seen some craziness throughout NASCAR and iRacing over the years for championship battles, but it could come down to something catastrophic at the end of this race if Mullins and McKinney were able to get hooked up together, go around or something of that sort, and Ryan Chapman is trying to gain any points that he can. He works to the outside of Brody Hanna, entering 3 and 4. He's up and into the wall, earns a Darlington stripe.
A famed Darlington stripe, even if it's on the virtual side. Tracy trying to thread the needle, battles alongside that Tracy machine on the driver, the 23, and that is the driver, of course, of Hanna. All this is going on around the racetrack. This opened that door for those guys, and all the while, it is still Mullins clear selling as nightfall settles in as they work off the bowling backstretch into 3.
Yeah, Brody Hanna has definitely fallen off a lot. Remember your pole sitter from earlier this evening. He sits now just at 11th, back behind Jake Euler, and Ryan Chapman is running out of time with only 2 laps remaining in stage 2 to pick up a point at least. But back to 1 and 2, other drivers battling throughout the entire field. Mullins has been able to pull out over Cody McKinney by about a second and a quarter of a second, coming back around to see the 1 lap to go signal from Barney the flagman here for the stage. And Wesley, this is everything that James Mullins wanted here tonight.
Yeah, time running out, man. He's looking to pick up now his 8th straight stage as he works his way, and actually it'll be his 12th stage win of the year. What a way to wrap up season number 8 for the series. Down the backstretch, it's Mullins. He's about 1.3 seconds back on McKinney as they work off into turn number 3.
And off turn number 4, stage number 2 is going to go to the man who has dominated the stages, practically dominated the season so far, and he is now going to obtain the points lead with that stage win. And we'll break it down for you before when we get going with stage 3. Cody McKinney second, Tyler Brown third, Bartel fourth, Tracy rounds out the top 5, Meglin, Joey McKinney, Blackner, Malikian, and Joik Euler round out the top 10. Wesley, this is going to be coming down to a bare-knuckle brawl probably, I would say, between this 60 and 28, but Cody, again, is going to have something happen to this 60 machine, I think, if he wants a shot.
And how fitting is it, Jason, that the 60 and the 28, Mullins and McKinney, are right there neck and neck with one another, and because of winning that race, he gets 1 point more. Stage 1, Stage 2, in the points battle, it is going to come down to maybe the last lap to even the finish of the race to tally who's going to be here. But obviously Mullins, don't overreach, because McKinney is doing all he can to try to throw an upset on him.
And we're going to have to find out and see where this shakes out. We'll tell you how the points look right after this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get going for stage number 3, the series finale for season number A, or rather letter A here. We'll be right back after this.
So it's not just the stage points, it's if you lead a lap even in throughout the race, you get a point. And obviously Mullins has led most of this race so far as we go into stage 3.
Oh boy. Well, Cody McKinney is going to have something happen, or he's got to lead some laps. Green flag is back out here in stage number 3. And just like that, James Mullins goes back to the race lead. Cody McKinney right back behind him. They're single file off turn number 2 while everybody spreads out behind them.
Stage 3 for the Season A finale, and stage points are on the line for the points that tally up who will be the champion. It's Mullins out in front. McKinney, the battle for 1 and 2, the battle for the championship. Front stretch going to turn 1.
McKinney looking for a way around this number 60 machine here of James Mullins, just not able to do it yet. He's trying to stay calm, cool, and collected, but at the same time wants to get to that lead and lead some laps, because every lap you lead, like we had mentioned, something that was completely forgotten about probably, I believe, coming into this season, is you lead a lap, it is a bonus point. No matter what lap it is, 1 lap equals 1 bonus point for your race points. So you got to keep that in mind. James Mullins, like you mentioned, Wesley, he has led a majority of this race. He has definitely extended that points gap over Cody McKinney, but Cody wants to do everything he can to get this race lead.
And right now, he's doing exactly what he needs to do to be thinking champion. He's right now up against the outside safer barrier. McKinney just cannot seem to run down Mullins yet. And meanwhile, Brown tries to make it a 3-truck battle. Bartel starting to close in as they work off 4.
Back into turns 1 and 2, Tyler Brown has been kind of the quiet guy running inside the top 5 all night long. He started in the top 10, but now he has found his way right up into that 3rd place spot. He gets a little loose off turn number 2. Cody McKinney peeks a look down to the inside of Mullins entering turn number 3. Not enough. He'll close up to the rear tailgate while he tries the diamond effect off 4.
Tries to make that run again, working off the corner, back down to the line, to put another lap on the board. It's Mullins out in front, up in the clear, up on the outside. To the bottom of the racetrack, nobody is. They stay up against that safer barrier. McKinney now losing, shuffling back to third is going to be Brown. Brown now, can he make a run on these guys? And while that happens, it looks like Mullins is slowing up because everyone behind the top 5 are running down the top 3 all 4.
Yeah, you definitely got to start saving tires here. About 40 laps are pretty much how your tires will last here. We talked about the fuel run being about 55 to 60 laps. That fuel run ain't going to mean jack, because it's all about tires here tonight at Darlington with these things shredding so quickly and tire wear being such a crucial factor into this race, Wesley. These guys have got to save tires. Oh, I believe Jake Euler having an issue possibly off turn number 2. Think he goes around dropping a ton of spots, and in fact, there he is. Euler on the apron, no caution. Wesley got in trouble off turn number 2.
And what a save there for Euler, who led earlier in the race in the STP Richard Petty throwback colors. Obviously, a lot more drivers also drove the STP colors. You think of the late Bobby Hamilton Jr. You think of also John Andretti. You think of some of these other guys that obviously have raced those colors in the past, even including NASCAR's current driver, Bubba Wallace, when he drove for the Petty franchise. All the while, it is Mullins still leading. McKinney in second spot as that works back into turn number 1.
McKinney is all over the rear tailgate here of James Mullins, entering 1 and 2, back down the Boeing back straightaway, and Tyler Brown starting to lose a little bit of ground to them. Wesley, I think James Mullins is just saving his tires a little bit more than Cody McKinney, because if you remember at the end of stage number 2, Mullins was able to pull out to almost about a second and a half over that 28 with how hard he was running, so it would not surprise me in the least bit if this 60 was saving, and that's why the 28 is still able to hang on and close in quickly.
Yeah, and all the while, this is exactly the run for the finish of the race, as you mentioned, Jason. We haven't even, I don't even think we've got to the halfway mark of the race just led. I want to say lap number 73 is halfway to the second half of this race, and obviously, you think about it, you're in stage 3, it just got started. You still got a long way to go, and I think McKinney knows that. Be patient as now Blackner battles with Chapman, one of the championship 3 as they work into 1.
Ryan Chapman is a man on a mission. He wants to make sure he can earn as many points as possible. This guy was around on the back straightaway many laps ago. He has worked his way all the way up to the 7th position, doing a great job there. What does the 27 have for the rest of this field despite the damage?
All this going on as they work across the line again. It's Chapman up high, Blackner back to the bottom. Here comes now McKinney in that mix, and they're quickly going to get back single file up against the safer barrier. That battle goes on as we got a caution on the racetrack. Problem on the speedway. Looks like the man in the 20th position is in trouble. That is the driver of Marshall Johnson, the Craftsman number 9, down in the bottom of the racetrack of the inside pit wall.
Oh no!
Center yellow flag again.
Oh no, it's something happened to James Mullins. James Mullins has dropped back to the 18th spot. Something might have happened to him. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And while we look at this wreck, folks, oh my goodness, what a hit by the 9 machine there. I believe who ran into the back of him was possibly John Rhodes or Brian Bliss, Joey Flanagan maybe, but folks, it was Brian Bliss in the 3, but
where's
folks,
Mullins?
We have lost the 60 of James Mullins. Internet connection issue for the driver of the number 60 machine. James Mullins could have just given up this championship.
Oh my God, what a hit. Brian Bliss, you're on board with him, and he just hit the rear end of the tailgate of the driver of Johnson. Can we see that again? Oh my, what a hit. And we're thinking that Mullins, is he back yet? I don't. He still showed on time and scoring his 20th, 21st. He's a lap down now, Jason.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
and a connection issue could lose James Mullins this championship after such a dominating season, just taking the points lead after stage 1 and stage 2, and now finds himself about to go 2 laps down here. He is still not back on the racetrack or reconnected to the race session. This is such a huge deal. And Wesley, this now opens up the door big time here for not only Cody McKinney, but Ryan Chapman to still somehow maintain this points lead if the number 60 doesn't come back.
Yeah, that's a valid point, man. We have to keep an eye on that. Lee smokes. Talk about heartbreak for these guys. I can't believe it. Wow.
I'm in shambles. I'm baffled. I am amazed. One mistake all season by the 60, and it's not even something of his doing, and it's caused by an internet connection issue that drops him out of the race session, and now he is all the way back 3 laps down in the 22nd position, and it is currently showing him out. And he's
back in the session, is what we're being told. Yeah, he's back in the session, but he is multiple laps down. Wow. Man, that's heartbreaking. That's just, and it's not even his fault. It's not even his fault. He's back out on the racetrack, is what we're being told. And the field is still under caution.
Let's get an update real quick from Charles Wooten just to clarify what's going on. Charles, what do you got for us down on pit road? Okay.
I went and talked to whoever I could, and yeah, it was a straight connection issue, but he is back. He has now since hit the racetrack, but yeah, I think we'll have cautions. I think he'll be able to get back on the lead lap.
He's on the racetrack at the 21st spot, 2 laps down. He's 2 laps down behind Colby Mikes. Colby Mikes is 1 lap down. And boy, oh boy, he's still got, we're not even halfway, Jason. We're just past halfway. This is halfway of the race right now. So he's still got a long way to go. Don't count out Mullins just yet. We're going to see if the virtual strength and stamina, if he can be able to muster his way through the front, because he's going to have a lot of traffic to deal with, Jason, to try to get this done, no doubt.
And this just opens up an entire, huge, gigantic Texas Charles Wooten-sized can of worms in this race. And with James Mullins resuming the race more than 2 laps down in 21st, he is on pit road, I believe, again in that number 60 machine. It is not showing him on the racetrack, because on our time and scoring sheet over here up in the booth, drivers who are in the blue that are 1 lap down, it means that they're on track. Drivers who are highlighted in the gray, it means they're off track. And now James Mullins has rejoined the racetrack, so he's going to have a lot of catching up to do. And now this opens up the door for Cody McKinney and also Ryan Chapman to get back to the race lead, or points lead rather. What's going to happen? Green flag is back out. Tyler Brown and Ben Tracy lead them back to turns 1 and 2, while Chapman gets shut through into the middle. They're 3 wide entering turn number 1, and everybody scrambles on to turn 2.
Back to it again as they work their way to the back straightaway. It's Brown now, the Pied Piper, to lead the race at Darlington for part 2 of this scenario. The second half underway. Tracy in second, Meglin third, McKinney up against the safer barrier, giving plenty of room as they work all 4.
And this race has just turned into a huge cluster down the front straight. Oh, Alan Duranco, a few other drivers having some issues off turn number 4. Believe they have gone around, but we stay green because it is below the racing surface. So this is all going on. Some battling up here towards the front. Michael Blackner battling with Robert Bilicki. Here comes Cody McKinney on those fresh tires, trying to see what he can do. Ryan Chapman, though, right behind him in the 27.
All this going on with Blackner down to the inside. That's for 5th and 6th. McKinney now in that battle. McKinney not helping matters for a championship for him because he's still mired in the back. Brown, McKinney, Tracy, Meglin. Malikian, all of these drivers battle Blackner inside as they work off two.
And McKinney is going to easily clear Michael Blackner back to turn number 3. It's one truck separating the 27 and the 28 machine as they work off turn number 4 to complete 77 and hit 78 now as they head back to turn number 1. What does Ryan Chapman have for this number 28 machine? Can he get there? What can he do? Yes, McKinney may have gotten some stage points, but from the looks of it, he is still back behind the 27 in points. But I believe James Mullins, though, still has the points lead because of leading all those laps and also getting those 2 stage wins.
And while that goes on, everybody's still in their spots. Brown now the leader. McKinney in second. That's the 18. The other McKinney back in the top 5. Bartel, Hanna, Chapman. All this going on behind them as Grossi's in this mix as well off 4.
Grossi trying to look to the inside of Williford down the backstretch, entering turn number 3, and Williford's going to cut him off just a little bit. They nearly go 3 wide, entering 3 and 4, but Ryan Chapman now under fire from 33 machine down to the inside. Chapman continuing to lose positions as they go into 1.
Back into turn number 1 now. Chapman up against the outside wall in the Nerditudes entry. It's Williford behind him. Grossi there as well. That is for 10th, 11th, 12th. Bartel trying to make a run on Malikian for that spot. Meanwhile, McKinney turning up the whip, trying to get around that driver. Also, Tracy, he clears him. He's now up to the McKinney family for 2nd and 3rd and 1.
McKinney's are 2nd and 3rd, trying to run down Tyler Brown in the 00 machine, who is the race leader as they head off into the corner. All those drivers are teammates 1, 2, and 3 from that camp over at Alpha Gear Racing. Back to turn number 3. You see Cody working to the bottom of his brother Joey off turn number 4. He'll complete the pass. Joey knows that he's got a shot at this championship. He's not going to run him hard. Now all Cody McKinney's got to do is get to Tyler Brown, lead some laps, and try to get to that, obviously, points position in 1st.
2 scenarios that can put, of course, the driver Mullins back on the lead lap. 1 is to at least take a wave around whenever the field comes back, or get around the driver that is 1 lap down of Mice and get a free pass. He's not going to do that unless a caution comes out. Mice will get that 1st lap back to put him on the lead back, but then Mullins will have to go for a wave around and then hope that the leaders up in front of him, Jason, come down to the pit lane. He is still mired in the back of the top 20 as we watch the leaders now of Brown and McKinney work their way into turn 3. Single file. McKinney looking for the lead, looking for the championship off turn 4.
And he is going to easily take that lead away from his Alpha Gear Racing teammate Tyler Brown. They hold still 1, 2, and 3. TJ Bartel, Ben Tracy, the Chevy, and Ford back in 4th and 5th. And while Cody McKinney runs away with it, he's just got to try to lead as many laps as he can. And he wants to get that points lead here over the 60 and the 27 machine. Back to 3 and 4, still battling, going all throughout the race, but still, Wesley, a long, long way to go here in the Lady in Black.
It certainly is a long way to go. We just passed just 10 laps a moment ago on the halfway mark of this race, and obviously things have been kind of calm, but here comes some contact. Maliki, and remember that guy earlier when he stuck it 3 wide? He's now in the mix behind them. All this happening for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th on the racetrack, working off the Boeing backstretch into turn 3.
Yeah, and off into turns 3 and 4. Look at Wayne Grossi. He is putting the heat on that 33 of Williford off turn number 4, trying to look down to the inside. They made a little bit of contact when Meglin and Malikian got side by side entering 1 and 2 just a lap ago. They still battle for position. This is going on from 7th back to 10th. As you see Malikian trying to run down Meglin, a little loose off turn 2.
Another line given perfectly for him as he works his way back off the corner, up to the top of that safer barrier, working off of turn 4. They thunder down to the line. It is lap number 86 on the board now of 146. Home stretch now of the race, and nobody giving an inch for the leader as they work off the corner. There you see Meglin holding on to that spot, but Malikian is in his tail in the turn 2.
Yeah, back to turns 3 and 4 this time. Malikian still trying to close in on Lewis Meglin, who is catching. Oh, and the 18 of Joey McKinney gets up into the wall. That's the 5th place driver. Ben Tracy had to check up big time. Opens up a whole can of worms down the front straight. They're thinking about going 3 wide. Oh, boy, you got to hold on. 2 wide, 2 by 2 into 1 and 2. Malikian slaps the wall and falls back into the 10th spot.
He definitely thought about it, no doubt, as they work their way back off that corner again. Everybody now stays up against the safer barrier. Plenty of room given. Williford to the bottom. Tracy up high. Grossi in the mix, and here comes the 16 diving in on the outside out of 4.
And look at Tracy battling with Wayne Grossi down the front straightaway side by side. And we talk about this being such a not anticlimactic, but a climax moment in the race is when drivers go up into turns 1 and 2 side by side, because it's so hard to do that and make passes, and that's why we see so many drivers bouncing off the wall, creating wrecks. So far, nothing has happened. We've had a couple drivers get the Darlington stripe, but still everybody racing for every position on track, as you see Malikian now trying to work to the inside of Tracy, loose off 4.
Plenty of room given for those guys down to the inside of the racetrack, down to the bottom. Here comes now that driver, Malikian, in that 16 machine, going after Tracy. And now they work their way off of that second turn, down the back straightaway, going after now the 18 of McKinney. McKinney at one time was up in the top 3. The other McKinney in the lead gets around Bartel, and that is the big scramble as they work off of 3 and 4.
Scramble, Hornet's Nest, whatever you want to call it. It is a huge gaggle of trucks that just came off turns 3 and 4 to hit 1 and 2. Williford now battling with Wayne Grossi, slides up the track, loses a little bit of time to the 7 machine. Meanwhile, Joey McKinney, who bounced off the wall 1 lap ago, fell back a few positions. He's trying to pick them back off with the 16 of Malikian and the 35 of Tracy right in front of him. They're all single file, while the 35 almost runs up into the wall in the center of 3 and 4.
Back to the inside, plenty of room now. Malikian gives to Tracy. They're going to flash across the line. Lap number 91 on the board. Door to door, those drivers go up the banking here at Darlington into turn 1.
And they are still side by side. Joe Flanagan, Joey McKinney battling it out. Oh, and I believe we got a caution on the racetrack here on lap number 92, and it involves Joe Flanagan in that 53 machine, entering turns 3 and 4. Rather, that's 1 and 2 in the 53 Longhorn Steakhouse machine. Throwing it back to Ron Hornaday is destroyed. And Wesley, we talked about turns 1 and 2 being so crucial with passing. And there it is.
What a tough break there. You see that 53 McKinney and the other driver Flanagan here. And here you go. This is exactly what Mullins is going to be watching for. Do they pit? You're going to see a replay of this one more time of McKinney and Flanagan in real time. This happens off of turn number 4 down to the start-finish line. Look at Flanagan, gave him the room on the bottom. Remember, we mentioned you got to go to the top to ride it to ride the wall here. But there you see the end result. Just ran out of shades of what Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain did to one another last year in the Cup Series race of the Goodyear 400 at the home stretch. As well, except they actually ended up T-boning one another all the way halfway down the Bullwinkle back stretch. But that's kind of what just happened, the way that scenario went on between Flanagan and the other driver a moment ago there, Jason.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Shades of Larson versus Chastain in turns 1 and 2, which created a little bit of a rivalry for the next few weeks between those guys from Dover all the way to Darlington. And now with pit stops beginning, Brody Hanna has elected to stay out. And he's got a set of tires that are going to be back behind the wall that he could use here later on in this race. And Wesley, here's the thing. Some of these drivers are not going to have tires here. Cody McKinney, TJ Bartel, they just took their last set. Tyler Brown, Lewis Meglin, Robert Malikian, Michael Blackner, Colby Mice, a few others are going to have a set left in the pit if need be, and this is going to create even more worms coming out of the can here on lap number 94 with Brody Hanna staying out.
Brody Hanna, Cody McKinney, Bartel. These just did not pit. Trying to see where Mullins is right now. Mullins is now in. He's on pit road again. So whatever strategy he thought about trying to go for a wave around, it goes nullified, because remember, the leaders, Jason, have to pit. If they don't pit, that doesn't work for him. He has to be the first man up in front behind the pace car, or at least multiple drivers a lap down can go for that. But if none of these guys that are on the lead lap do it, that shoots him in the foot. He has no other choice but to come down to the pit lane and take on 4 tires and fuel and try to go again.
Yeah, and he's still 2 laps down right now. It is going to be a long shot if he could try to make his way back up to the front here. He's going to need a little bit of luck. We might not be in Vegas tonight, but he's going to have to roll the dice in one way or another here and have the lady in black let him catch a break. But it has not been that way for James Mullins after the disconnection issue for him a handful of laps ago, after dominating this race, pretty much taking over the points lead. And with the connection issue, it opened up the door completely for Cody McKinney and Ryan Chapman to make a run back at him. And really right now, Wesley, Ryan Chapman on pit road, I believe he's a lap down now. Cody McKinney, he is in the catbird seat. He is going to have to do whatever he can to make sure he can lead the most laps by the end of this thing and walk away with a championship tonight.
No, you're exactly right. And obviously this strategy for Cody McKinney is doing everything that he needs to do to try to pull an upset on the championship on Mullins. I mean, Mullins looked like he was just going to be the guy that was going to just dominate this thing here. 12 stage wins, 7 in a row, 8 in a row if you count what he did just a moment ago, and then all of a sudden he disappears at the end of the... This is heartbreak. This is like massive engine failure for Mullins, if you want to paint a picture of right now, and he has got to find a way to get back in this thing, but obviously right now it is just too far gone.
Definitely too far gone. Could be out of reach for the number 60 machine, who looked to be the dominator tonight. That was going to be the clear favorite. You see him all the way back there, entering 3 and 4, 2 laps down. What will happen? Coming down to the restart on lap number 97, Brody Hanna will lead him back to the restart zone. Green flags in the air. He fires off good despite older tires. There's the wheel spin for the 23. It's going to open up the door for McKinney to look up top here, entering 1 and 2. And Brody Hanna's just going to lay off and let them all by as the 28 goes back to the lead.
Yeah, Hanna goes down to the inside. It says, have at it, boys. There's a battle going on, and I'm not in it. It's right now McKinney, the leader. Brown, the Martel third, up against the safer barrier contact. Rossi gets into Meglin. Meglin got loose. He corrects and saves it off of turn 4.
Tyler Brown running in P2 right now. Does he try to fend for himself and go after Cody McKinney for the lead? He's hot on his heels, entering 1 and 2, but he knows the predicament that his teammate Cody McKinney is in. Will he try to block? Oh, Wayne Grossi in trouble down off turn number 2, I believe. Goes around, and he is able to keep it going. I believe he spun but saved it. But the 7 machine now falls all the way back to the 16th spot.
Jason, you know, that was right where that number 7 of Grossi was a moment ago, where Meglin was in that 5th spot for the 43. All that might have caused something to take place. Nonetheless, McKinney, that's the 18 machine, down to the inside, makes a Tracy. Tracy tries to set his sights on Blackner. Blackner's got a tailgate of Williford in front of him. All this is going on behind the top 5 as they work off 4, closing in on triple digits here at Darlington.
And we're 1 lap shy of hit lap 100 out of 146, and it'll be 47 to go this time by. Next time, 46 remaining. Tyler Brown hunting down his teammate, but the question that remains is, will he try to pass him or will he try to fend off the field behind him so Cody McKinney can earn as many points as he can to try to run for this championship? Because quite frankly, Wesley, I believe both of us right now, we have no idea what this point situation looks like, but by the looks of it, just with how this race played out, with Mullins picking up the stage wins and Cody McKinney finishing second, and both of them closing in. Mullins obviously took over the points lead because he led laps. Cody McKinney was able to get second, leading these points, and Ryan Chapman not getting any. and now leading these points, he's going to have to run after Mullins' championship hunt here. This championship is still right now anybody's game between those 2 to 3 drivers.
This entire run for the championship just got through on its axis, if you will, here on planet Earth. We're trying to see what all these guys are going to do with right now McKinney and Brown. They continue to battle down for the win of the race, closing in now on 44 laps to go when they come back to the line. All the while, it is still McKinney, Brown, Bartel, your top 3, all single file up against the outside safer barrier. Don't count out Meglin and Maliki in your top 5 off 4.
Off turn number 4, down to the line, into the front straightaway, and now into turns 1 and 2 they go. Tyler Brown still looking for possibly a way around Joey McKinney, or rather Cody McKinney. Off turn number 2, these two have gotten away from TJ Bartel by a little over half a second. Back to 3 and 4. Will they battle, or will they be respectful for each other as teammates, knowing that one has a championship on the line and one just wants to go out here and win a race?
That remains to be seen, as right now everybody just still staying on the up against the outside safer barrier. McKinney up high, Brown up high. Brown can't get the run on the Madagascar colors of the 28. And while that goes on, believe it or not, Bartel is closing in on those top 2 as they work off into 3.
And if they get side by side, TJ Bartel is going to have a great chance to catch them here. Off turn number 4 they go. Lap 105 will go up on the board momentarily. Lewis Meglin there in 4th. Robert Malicki in 5th. Williford, Blackner, Tracy, Joey McKinney, and Ryan Chapman, who came in tonight as the points leader, but more than likely it's going to be a loss for him unless something catastrophic happens. Rounds out the top 10. And you see that 27 machine trying to look for a way around Joey McKinney entering 3.
Hold on to that spot right now as the outside lane still is where McKinney is. It's Chapman trying to get something started on the bottom. Remember what we mentioned, you stay to the outside, you get a driver and of course a run to the side, a side draft if you will. Kind of like Daytona or Talladega, you power to the left, you try to get them on the clear. But right now McKinney not backing off 1 inch as they work off 4.
And 27, Chapman had to lay out of the gas there off turn number 2. Got really tight. Almost got up into the wall there, and he definitely does not want that, considering he's already been involved in 1 incident tonight, and the championship is slipping through his fingers as Cody McKinney continues to lead with Tyler Brown, his teammate, right back behind him. They have now a 2nd and a 10th over TJ Bartel in 3rd. And Wesley, some of these guys, they're going to have to go all the way to the end on tires. Some guys, though, they still got a set remaining, like a Tyler Brown, Lewis Meglin, and Robert Malicki, and so strategy still a definite factor here in this race with 40 to go.
Blackner about tags the outside safer barrier. The Coca-Cola machine falls back to about a truck length now on the Tracy ride. He's got to get back up on the high horse on the outside lane and make a move on the bowling back stretch. He'll do that as they work off the corner. Loses more ground now as they're going to make their sights on Williford into 3.
And back into 1 and 2 they go, or rather 3 and 4, and off the corner down onto the front straightaway. Tracy still has that position over Michael Blackner, trying to run down Sherwood Williford in the old throwback that he's been sporting for the last couple of seasons. That being a throwback to Kevin Harvick's Chevy Rock and Roll Taz Goodwrench machine colors that he runs every single week here in FTSR, trying to hold off Ben Tracy as they head back to 3 and 4. Though laps are winding down, and Wesley, the thing is if a caution comes out, this race becomes in the favor of the drivers who still have 1 set of tires remaining in the pits.
And that strategy for those guys that at least have that 1 set of tires is a plus, no doubt about it, as now Tracy battles Williford. You got the ace in the hole with that extra set of tires. When do you use them, though? That's the question, Jason. When do you come down to pit road? Do you make a green flag pit stop, or do you hope for a caution flag? And also, if you don't get a caution flag, you might put yourself in a bad spot right there for those guys that have a set of tires as well.
It's a really, really tricky spot, Wesley. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you if these guys are going to want to pit to use that extra set of tires if this race went green, because you're just going to hurt yourself going back. Yes, you're going to be way, way faster on those newer tires compared to the older ones, but you're going to be significantly more positions back and possibly even a lap down or so. So you got to use those last set of tires if you have them remaining wisely. But that's the question we're all wondering up here in the booth. Will they come to pit road for the drivers who have one set left? Will we have a caution? Lap 112, and you see Ryan Chapman battling with James Torrey there in that number 6 machine, battling Joey McKinney off the corner, almost pinches him into the wall.
Can't emphasize how important it is to try to find a way to get here in the catbird seat to at least get what you need if you're one of these drivers in the point spots. But now you see Johnson on pit road, damaged number 9 machine, Craftsman Toyota. He's already going to get things started with green flag pit stops. He is on pit road. So is Flanagan. So is Rhodes. Guys in the back, multiple laps down or more. By the way, Mullins is 1 lap down. If a caution was to come out, Mullins would get back on the lead lap in the number 60 machine.
And he would love to have that happen, obviously. Now, riding in that 17th position, trying to do everything he can to make sure he can get that lap back here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. SDK is showing Mullins 1 lap down, him 2 laps down. So there might be a glitch or something. I'm not sure. But all the while, we'll keep an eye on that. As there goes that number 8 machine of Mice. That's the O'Reilly machine of Mice on the inside. DoorDash making a move on the 6. That's Torrey as they work their way back off of turn number 3.
And off turn number 3 they go, back down the front straightaway. You see that 8 machine of Colby Mice. So we haven't really seen him all night long in that number 8 machine. I'm trying to think of the throwback that could be. The only scheme that I could think of is what it looks like is the old Geico colors that Max Pappas drove when he was running the 13 machine. That's what that looks like. So it looks like it's a throwback to the Max Pappas 13 Geico machine, but I could be wrong. Yeah, on the 8 machine there. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like that. But hey, Colby Mice doing a great job.
Looks like the colors of the number 6 looks like the colors of, if you remember Rick Corelli when he drove the ARCA Remax truck back in the day. The number 6 there, driven by Torrey. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it gives me a little bit of that. Also gives me a little bit of, remember the Brad Keselowski Worth machine that he ran for a few years when he was over at Team Penske. Drove that Worth machine. Looks exactly like that as well. And there's James Torrey making a look down to the inside here of Joey McKinney, back to 1 and 2. Will they stay clean? McKinney up and into the wall through 1 and 2.
Somehow they hold it together now. McKinney now gets up under the machine of Torrey. Pushes Torrey up against the outside lane. McKinney drops down to the bottom of the flat. Now he's got to get right back under the tailgate of the 6. And while that goes on, Mice gives him plenty of room as they work up the safer barrier. McKinney way up in the safer barrier for a stripe off 4.
And McKinney gets up and into the wall again. And guess what? Change of position for second. Tyler Brown has lost it to TJ Bartel, who is now going to try to run down over 2 3/4 of a second on Cody McKinney. Can he do it? We're going to have to find out. Both of those drivers don't have any sets of tires remaining in the pits. So this is what they got to the end, Wesley. The question will be, will the caution come out?
Well, and you got to remember too, Jason, do we get a caution? If we do get a caution, then that's in the catbird seat, the ace in the hole for those drivers to use those that last set of tires. What if we don't get a caution? We're closing in on lap 120 next time around. What is that? 26 laps to go to the finish of this race. This is definitely a strategy that a lot of these drivers, I think, were not thinking. I think they thought that there would be a lot of cautions. I think Mullins, Jason, thought that there was going to be a lot of cautions to get him right back into this race, and it just hasn't materialized yet.
Yeah, and James Mullins right now is down 2 laps compared to the race leader, 1 lap down from Brody Hanna. And James Mullins is going to need something to happen, and it's got to happen quickly if he wants to try to have any sort of shot. But again, it's going to be a long one. Ryan Chapman still trying to do everything he can to obtain as many points as he can. He's working around Colby Mice, who gets a little loose off the corner. They battle down the front straightaway.
Guys on the racetrack, there's a good amount of them saying, I need a caution. Give me a caution. But if you're a guy like McKinney, that's Cody McKinney in the 28, you know Brody Hanna on pit road. Here comes the number 23 Ford, the Gladiator Fury Motorsports entry to the attention of his crew. This might be a green flag pit stop, unscheduled, or Jason, it might be strategy for an undercut before the other guys come down to pit lane for their 4 tires.
I believe it is definitely a on-the-dot scheduled pit stop for the 23, considering when he last pit many laps ago, and he fell all the way back to 16th. So he's easily going to go 1 or 2 laps down here and take that last set of Goodyear Eagles back behind the wall that he had remaining. Again, though, the question we're asking is if these guys up in the top 5 to top 10 who have one set left, like Brown, Bilikian, Meglin, others as well, will they have to pit? Because we're only coming up to 20 laps to go here. Once we hit lap 127, Wesley, it's going to get interesting here, but Cody McKinney has been running away with this thing.
McKinney the leader, Bartel is in second, by the way, Brown third, Malikian and Meglin top 5. There you see the man that's trying to do everything he can to pull an upset on the driver of Mullins, who literally was dominating this thing. He fell out with issues, single issues. This opens the door to the 28 of McKinney. This is going to end a 3-race winning streak for the driver of obviously Mullins. And could he do everything he needs to do, Jason, to win the championship? Remember, in addition to the stage points on the line, every lap that the driver Cody McKinney leads, he gets a bonus point like you forementioned. Is it enough? That's the question as they are closing in on the home stretch of this race.
It very well could be a very tight points battle here for this championship. And Cody McKinney, though, but by the looks of it, could end up with the 2024 A season title. You just saw Robert Bilikian. He just got past Tyler Brown, who's the teammate of Cody McKinney. And Bilikian starting to run down TJ Bartel, who is up a few seconds on him. Joey McKinney just slapped the wall off turn number 2. He loses this spot to Jake Euler as they work around 3 and 4. That's going on for the 12th spot as Marshall Johnson on those fresher tires with the damaged race car starting to try to reel in that number 18.
Coming to the line this time by, it's going to be 20 laps to go, and it is white knuckle time. All the while, Cody McKinney in the lead. There's the other McKinney, Joey McKinney, mired back in the top 15. Jake Euler right there in front of him. He's got Tony Solari behind him. All of this goes on with the lap machine. Also a Marshall Johnson in his midst as they work off 4.
And lap number 127 has gone past us now. 19 laps remaining here tonight from Darlington coming up shortly. You see Tyler Brown, he brushes the wall entering 3 and 4, opens up the door for the 43 of Lewis Meglin to try to head down to the bottom. There's James Mullins, and you could think that he would be in position right now, but he is still all the way back in 17th, 2 laps down. It just goes to show you, Wesley, how fast that 60 was purely here tonight.
Another lap on the board, 19. Now make it 18 laps to go. Back on the Boeing back straightaway. There you see Brown now. He's got company from guess who? Mullins fighting, clawing his way. That is, by the way, the 4th place machine that has caught to try to get back at least one of his laps back. 18 to go as they work back into turn number 3.
TJ Bartel starting to run down Cody McKinney a little bit. The gap was 2.3. It is now 1.9, almost 2 seconds. The 98 starting to reel him in a bit, but it might be a little too late for the 98 machine. But again, if a caution were to come out, him and McKinney do not have any tires remaining in the pits. Malikian, Brown, Meglin, and others do. So if a caution comes out, this race is going to be wide open for drivers to attack on somebody like Cody McKinney, who has dominated all night, needs as many points as he can to lead the race and get those bonus points. He's only got to do it for 16 and a half more laps.
Just staying out in front, the Pied Piper, if you will, working off the corner. There's Bartel. He's in the number 2 spot. What a good job for the Levi. Number 98 machine leading the way is 17. Now make it 16 laps to go. McKinney, Bartel, Malikian, Meglin, Brown. There's your top 5. Here comes Brody Hanna now, trying to fly back through the field and make a run on McKinney as they work the backstretch.
And Hannah trying to get one lap back as they head into 3 and 4. McKinney will give it up, but ultimately give up a little bit of time. Lost about half a second worth of his lead there to Bartel, who now makes it a 1.5 to 1.4 second gap off turn number 4. 15 laps remaining from the Lady in Black, and Cody McKinney is doing everything that he needs to do to win this championship. But quite frankly, like we mentioned, it's going to be a tight battle. We might have to try to see who is going to win this championship when this is said and done, because we just don't know. It has been that chaotic and intense here tonight from Darlington, but Cody McKinney is just, again, doing everything he needs to do, but he's loose off turn 4, gives up another 3, almost 4 tenths to TJ Bartel as he starts to close in within a second.
Remember what we mentioned, obviously, Jason, those tires are used up on a lot of these guys. That might be something that we better keep an eye on as a scenario. Nonetheless, we still stay single file. It'll be 13 to go at the line. McKinney, and there's Bartel. He's in second spot, and he ain't making no ground on the leader as they work off 4.
To just tell you how crucial tires and how much tire wear plays a factor here at this racetrack, best lap of the race was turned by J.P. Burns with a 28.811. Your leader, Cody McKinney, last time ran a 31 flat nearly. So you're looking at over 2.5 seconds worth of fall off almost. That is how much they have fallen off here tonight at Darlington. But Wesley, the race for the lead, it's getting intense soon. TJ Bartel, he's been running 3 to 4 tenths faster a lap than Cody McKinney. Starting to reel in, the gap is only 8 tenths.
Patiently staying in that spot again right now, McKinney, and there's Bartel. Bartel by himself, all by his lonesome here. He's trying all he can to try to run down McKinney, but McKinney is just very strong. You see him hitting his marks, working off of turn number 3 and 4, coming back down to the line, ready to approach. 10 to go, 11 this time by.
And with Cody McKinney having an opportunity to win this championship, TJ Bartel could give less. He wants this win, and he wants it bad. And Bartel has been strong all season long as well, with 7 for 12. Top 10 finishes. He's got no wins, so he wants this win. And Wesley, Bartel has closed the gap into 4 tenths of a second. He might get him here off turn number 4. 10 laps to go at the line.
Trying to hit his marks, no doubt, here at, of course, the Big D, coming to the line. 10 laps to go. 36 in of 146 laps for the Season A schedule. A few weeks off, we go to Charlotte, May 22nd. Right now, it's McKinney leading the charge on the road to a win and possibly an upset for a championship. But Bell is there, looking for the lead in turn 3.
Bartel runs the middle groove through 3 and 4. This time by, McKinney gets a little loose. He gives a wiggle. Here comes Bartel to the inside. McKinney tries to block. Still has the race lead. Back to turn number 1. 9 laps remaining in the Lady in Black.
Single digits in the line here going into 1 and 2. They stay to the outside. It is Bartel. Little wiggle there for a minute as he shuffles out of line. McKinney drops to the bottom. Bartel licking his chops, says, "Excuse me," coming through. New leader Bartel with 8 to go off 4.
And Cody McKinney does not want to give this lead up, but by the looks of it, TJ Bartel is going to scoot away now by 3 tenths of a second, and Bartel could have saved the tires just perfectly. Somebody we did not expect to see up here, but who's always a sleeper, now has gone to the race lead and led his first lap of the evening over Cody McKinney, who's trying everything that he can do to get back to the lead with 7.5 laps to go.
He has gone to the whip, and he has turned a lot of heads here in the world of the Full Throttle Truck Series. Right now on this Wednesday evening at Darlington, McKinney now got to shake it off, get right back and get that haired lion back to the front again for the Madagascar ride. It's Bartel, it's McKinney. They battle. There's lap traffic up ahead by the other McKinney member of the family as they come to the line. This time by it, it's 6 to go off the bowling back straightaway.
And Joey McKinney will peel off to the inside to let the 2 leaders battle it out here with 6 laps remaining up on the board. and TJ Bartel has now scooted away to over a second gap over Cody McKinney, who needs to lead the laps, wants this championship badly. We're going to have to tally this one up and talk to the race officials after this to just see who's going to win this championship, because it's been so tight all race long, all season. You take into account the stage points, the bonus points for leading laps. It has been a tight battle between McKinney, Ryan Chapman, and also James Mullins, whose championships probably went in flames after the connection issue. 5 laps remaining in season 24A here at Darlington.
And Bartel is hitting his marks with the open hand from the flag. Back straightaway, Bartel, that Lee 98 machine, his Chevrolet, looks perfect off into the Carolina Night of Virtual Darlington. There's nobody in sight. McKinney free-falling back 2 seconds. 4 seconds back is Malikian, as he's less than 4 miles to a win here in Darlington.
And Bartel has done everything that he's needed to do with those older tires. Last pitted on lap 93, just like Cody McKinney. Saved them better than McKinney did, and starting to scoot away coming into tonight. TJ Bartel, like we mentioned, 7 for 12, top 10s, 3 for 12, top 5s. He only led 23 laps coming into tonight, and he's turned over 1,620 laps this season, and he has done everything that he needs to do. The only thing he has not gotten on the resume besides a pole this season is a win, and he's got 2.5 laps to go to try to see if he can hang on for the first win of the season and steal one away from Cody McKinney as he heads into 3.
Bartel separates his way from another machine. That's that 11 machine, if you will, of Solari. He'll clear him off the corner. It's Bartel and McKinney. Open up the lead down to 2.5 seconds, and the laps are dwindling here at Darlington. It is the penultimate lap of the race as he works turn number 1.
2 laps to go, and TJ Bartel just wants to see that white flag here at Darlington. Down the Boeing back straightaway for the second to last time. Doing everything he can. Wesley, just 2 more corners to see that white flag.
Bartel hits his marks up against the outside of the safer barrier, keeps it a little bit separated into the middle line this time. Now he's up in the fence. White flag in the air. The CRN 1 to go. Bartel, nobody was thinking this guy would come into the picture. He pulls the upset here if he can hold on at least a half a more lap at Darlington. The 98 off turn 2 for the final time.
He's been a little bit consistent. He's had a little bit of luck. But tonight it was about tire saving for the driver of the 98 machine late in the going. And off turn number 4, he's going to add that 1 tally to the stat chart in 2024A. TJ Bartel wins Darlington Throwback Weekend for the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series. And if our stats are going to be correct, Cody McKinney could very well be the 2024A winner unofficially. We will tally it up. We will talk to race officials when we come back from break after we give the race results, and we'll figure out who won this championship. But, I mean, Wesley, what a drive for the 98 machine to be able to save those tires and pull the upset here tonight at Darlington.
I think at the end of the day, Cody McKinney looking at the big picture. What a big win, though, for TJ Bartel. The celebration on for the Levi, the Lee Trucks number 898 Chevrolet. McKinney and Malikian, all these guys just could not run down him when it was all said and done. What a moment for, of course, TJ Bartel. But now, did McKinney point what he need to do? Strategy to settle for second. Nothing wrong with silver, but at least be able to hoist the championship of Season A. We have to wait intently to see how this turns out.
And here's your unofficial race results tonight. Again, TJ Bartel picking up that first win of the season. Cody McKinney coming home P2. Did he win the championship? Did he not? We'll find out. Robert Malikian, another top 5 at Darlington. He'll finish 3rd. Lewis Megalin and Michael Blackner, great runs for them in the top 5. Tyler Brown, Ben Tracy, James Torrey finishes 8th despite sparting all the way at the back of the field. Sherwood Williford and Wesley J. Gorler rounds out the top 10.
Turning 11 spot's going to be Colby Mice, followed by Ryan Chapman. He's another guy that had a battle for the championship. Tony Solari, first truck, 1 lap down in 13th. Joey McKinney, 14th. Wayne Grossi, Brody Hanna, all a lap down. There's the heartbreak for James Mullins after almost 12 straight stage wins. And, of course, obviously the man that dominated stage 1 and 2, he had computer fallout. He ended up 2 laps down. Is it enough for what he did to win the championship over McKinney? We will find out soon enough. He ends up 17th. Marshall Johnson, Joe Flanagan, John Rhodes, multiple laps down in the top 20. The rest of the rundown will find, of course, Alan Duranco, Brian Bliss, Joey Flanagan, Rick Webb, Chris Custer, and J.P. Burns, the Canadian, had bad luck in the opening 10 laps of the race where he ended up finishing 26th.
When we come back, we'll wrangle up the top 3, and we're going to find out who just won the 2024 A Championship. We'll be right back after this. Stick around. We're going to find out just like you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, after a length.
I'll tell you what, third place has got to be kind of like a win for you, no doubt, Robert. Kind of the season you've had, man. What you know? By the way, I also got to go back to the earlier the race. What a move when you split behind a couple of wrecked trucks 3 wide. Did you even see that coming? How closely you were going to be a part of that accident? You dove and missed it.
I knew it was going to be close. I saw the hole open up, and I just gunned it for it, hoping it would still be there by the time I got there. I didn't realize how close it was until you guys mentioned it, and then I went back and watched the replay, and yeah, it was I got through by just the hair.
Well, Robert, man, you finished P3 tonight. You're going into next season with some great momentum. Who do you got to thank for that awesome run tonight?
Yeah, just got to thank the team, Elevated Outdoors, Elevated Esports, our main sponsor, Gums Auto Center, Nerditudes, Victory Fuel, Martin Sports, and you guys at LSRTV always putting on a great broadcast for us so we can go back and watch them. And I hope it was a good race for the fans.
It definitely was for us, for sure, up here in the booth. Definitely for the fans watching. That's Robert Malikian coming home P3 in the number 16 Toyota Tundra machine tonight. And now we'll head over to second place. Cody McKinney, P2 tonight, man. Unfortunately, you didn't win that championship. I can break that news officially. So, Cody, man, you tried it. You did everything you could. What more did you need? Mr. Cody McKinney, do we have a copy, my friend?
First of all, my bad. Push talks on. First of all, I want Brody and TJ and all the admins to check TJ's tires, see what he did to them or swapped them out with. Nah, it was a good race. Going into it, C opens a lot different than what we ran. So going into it, didn't know what to expect, but qualified ninth and got going and didn't look back.
Cody, were you one of the drivers that had that extra set of tires hoping for a caution, or the strategy of getting a late race caution to possibly come down and get those next set like some others did, or did that strategy totally change when y'all went green to the finish?
Oh, no. I was out of me. I think TJ was as well. I was definitely out of tires that last run. So if there's a caution, I definitely was screwed out of the top 5 at least. I came down 2 cautions before that last one, or the caution before that one, kind of by surprise to everyone else, and took tires there, hoping we was going to stay green the rest of the way, but that didn't work out.
Well, Cody, you gave it your all tonight, man. I know you're going to have a lot of momentum going into the season for 2024B, but with that being said, buddy, who you got to thank for the awesome run tonight and the great effort?
Storm Sim Racing. I made the switch over to them this week, and they welcomed me with open arms. Kind of helping me a lot, kind of progress as a sim racer. Ancient World Gaming, they signed with them this week as well. And can't wait. Glad we were able to get a top 3 finish for everyone involved tonight. First league race with them on the trucks, so feels good for that. Everybody at Alpha Gear, everybody at FTSR for putting this thing on, y'all for broadcasting the show. And James, congratulations. You definitely deserved it Season A, but Season B, it ain't happening.
Well, that's Cody McKinney, driver, the number 28, finishing P2, 6 points shy of the championship. And now we'll head over to Victory Fuel, Victory Lane. Here, remember, you can go to drinkvictory.com and use code KOI19 at checkout to save 10% off your order. TJ, man, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen better tire saving in my life, man. What in the world did you do to save those tires to make a charge at Cody there?
It's all Wayne Grassi engineering. The setup was really good. I know how I want to drive this track, and just trying to run the pace that I know I need to run, and then, just hopefully things work out. I was kind of second guessing some of the pit strategy, thought it might bite us, and like Cody said, I didn't have any tires, so I was praying a caution didn't come out, and I didn't know if I'd catch Cody because he's really good here too. I tried to catch him last spring in this race and couldn't do it, and slowly started chipping away at him, and I could see it looked like his truck was really loose, and got a good opportunity to get a run and get alongside of him, and it worked out, and just really, really happy. I love this track. This Homestead and Old Atlanta are my favorites.
TJ, it's not been the best year for you in the A schedule, but man, to end and win on it's got to be a high note. What do you take from this to prepare to be better for the B schedule coming in a few weeks?
Well, I tell you, A season statistically at FTSR is always my weakest part of the year. Usually I get better in the B and C part of the year. So hopefully we can take this momentum and have some good luck and get some good consistent finishes. Hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
Well, TJ, man, with that being said, who do you got to thank for that first win of the season tonight? Great job by you in that 98 team.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Got to thank Wayne Grassi Engineering, Wayne Grassi Racing, Sim Racing Points, FTSR, my fellow drivers, Chevrolet, and Lee Jeans, and thank my wife for letting me do this, and I'll dedicate this win to my late son, Evan.
There you go. There's TJ Bartell coming home, a race winner tonight from the Lady in Black. And now we'll stay in victory lane here with the points leader and 2024 A champion. Thought it was slipping from his fingers from the connection issue. James Mullins, what a high note at one of the lowest points you've probably had all season long, man, during the beginning of this race. What was going through your mind?
Damn, had to make it interesting. What I didn't want that to happen. I had a battery going dead for a couple of laps. I went to the backup battery, right? And it just started going dead. Had to go in pit lane. Had to, get that sorted out, come back. Luckily, there was a caution come out, as soon as I got, the problem. And went 2 laps down and just, man, I didn't think I was going to get it. Got lucky.
James, how frustrating was it, obviously, because let's just say this, the championship was pretty much in your grasp, and then when that happened, that's kind of like the equivalent of either being stuck up in the big one at Daytona or Talladega or having massive engine failure in real life. It happened to you. What was the mindset of just trying to not freak out and just try to get back on the race sim immediately?
Yeah, well, it was a lot going on. I come back into the sim. I had my wheel settings was off, because I run real low sensitivity, and I had to go in my pits, fix my wheel settings. I was starting to freak out. Then I didn't take the right fuel, and it was going downhill fast. But I kind of kept my composure with it. I was getting a little frustrated with it, but I had to keep digging. And if I was wanting to win the championship, can't give up.
Well, James, you did a fantastic job, and I'll ask you one more question before you can segue this into who you got to thank tonight for the championship. But, man, I heard you were departing after this season's conclusion, dude. I mean, what can you take from FTSR, obviously, and what did you learn, and how good of an experience was it for you in that 60 machine?
Well, I mean, that's kind of really the first I've heard of it, but it's not by my choice. I don't really understand the reason why, but I mean, I had a good time. Everybody, I love racing with everybody. I felt like, sometimes I get a little aggressive, but I mean, if you want to be fast, you got to be aggressive. I mean, you ask Cody, you ask Ryan, all these boys. I mean, sometimes you got to get up on the wheel, and and I try my best not to put the way in bad situations. But at the end of the day, I'm here to win races, and just like I do on every race I'm in, I try to win the race. I mean, it's just how I am. I try to race clean and respectful, but I just wish I could be back next year. But if not, I've had a good time, and I want to thank everybody at FTSR, you guys. I mean, I had a blast, and good luck to everybody next season if I ain't racing.
James, do you feel like you're being pushed out?
Nah, well, I mean, when I when I applied for the league, you know, I went over the rule book and looked, and it said, you know, you weren't allowed to have an I rating over 6,000, but now it says if you've ever had an I rating over 6,000. So the rules kind of got changed. I don't know, but it is what it is. I ain't no hard feelings. I mean, in my opinion, I would want to raise my competition up to try to get better instead of, you know, push somebody out. But it is what it is.
We'll have to find out and see what goes on about that. I'm sure probably you'll be back next season. We'll have to find out. But that's James Mullins, driver the number 60, coming home with the championship for 2024A. And Wesley, it came right down to the wire there. 6 points, the difference, man. And it just goes to show you that these races are really, really intense over here at FTSR.
Yeah, going to be fun and exciting, obviously. Everybody's going to have a few weeks off. They're going to come back for Charlotte for the B-Series schedule. And obviously, you know, you look at guys like Mullins celebrating was the champion. You got McKinney. He wants to do things differently, also, to be able to be the B-Series title holder. Bartel, can he carry this momentum, as he mentioned, going into the latter parts of the series? All of these stories and more are going to be decided whenever we come back to Charlotte here in a few weeks on May 22nd, right before Memorial Day. And Jason, Darlington, what a perfect place to send off for a Race for a Championship too, man. Just love this track.
I think we all love this track, and we could all agree with Mr. Wesley out in there, but this is obviously going to come to an end for 2024A. For everybody at FTSR, Brody Hanna, everybody involved, the drivers for providing us with a great A portion of the schedule. LSRTV, Charles Wooten, Wesley Outland, Jeff Stabnow, Drake Victory, obviously the primary sponsor, Sim Racing Points as well. I'm Jason Rockfell saying so long. We'll see you in a few weeks' time where we'll kick off 2024B at Charlotte. Good night. So long from Darlington.